What is up, everybody? It is Og here, back with another video, and yesterday we got access to the beta so I could finally go in and test things myself and see what works, what doesn't, test everything I possibly can, and that's exactly what I set out to do. Literally had the goal yesterday, stream for 13 hours to test as much as I possibly can, and I wanted to test things that you guys wanted to test as well. So before we even get started with anything, I created a Google Doc. It'll be down in the description down below. It'll have everything that I've tested, everything that I'm going to test. And if you guys want to ask me to test more things, comment in this video, reach out to me on Discord. Let me know what you guys want to test. Some things I probably won't be able to test. You know, maybe I don't have professions or something, but I'll try to get somebody else who does to actually confirm whether or not that's the case. But the plan for this video is to run through those things that we tested, give you guys all the answers to all those, and then hone in on a few things that were very unexpected. There's some things that we found out yesterday that came out of left field, and I really want to get your guys' feedback on it and see what you guys think, because that's the whole point of the beta. So that's going to be later in the video. Definitely stick tuned to that. But let's jump into all the things that we did find yesterday, and then we'll get into those. All right, so before we get started with this rapid fire, if you guys are enjoying these videos and if you guys do want to see more TBC content and everything, I'm going to be pumping out a ton of paladin content, mage content, raiding, AoE farming, arena, everything. So definitely hit that subscribe button down below. All right, let's jump into this. So I'm going to try to go as fast as possible, but hone in on everything that is going to be important to know. The very first thing that we wanted to test was the ZG coins. The rumor was that it did not work even at level 58. So I leveled a hunter to 58, said it was not even a new, like, just automatic instant character creation at level 58 with the beta, and no experience. So even if you were to transfer a tune, level up a tune to 58, have it sitting at 58, real tune on live, no experience from GG coins turn-ins even at level 58. Number 2 came in on my warrior, actually. So a guy named Unleash Pain asked me a question in the stream and asked me to test out Ancient Hakkari Manslayer. Why would I be testing out a random axe from ZG? What matters with that? Well, it has a chance on hit to steal life, and that chance on hit should be 1-to-1 based on classic. Why does that matter? It's still not going to be a ton of healing, etc., unless you have a bunch of spell power. Shamans. Shamans have a talent in TBC called Mental Quickness. Mental Quickness increases the spell damage and healing by the amount equal to 10% of your attack power. So if you have a bunch of attack power, and you're increasing your spell power by 30%, and the Ancient Hakkari Manslayer scales 1-to-1 with spell damage, that means you're able to heal yourself very frequently for, let's just say, 400 or 500 and almost have no downtime killing mobs as a shaman. Whereas mages have downtime, warriors have downtime, everything has downtime. You take a lot more damage in TBC, right? Or it costs a lot more mana to do everything. This actually could be really good for shamans in TBC. So we set out to test it. We went to Winter Spring, went to go hit him up and see how much the healing did. So here we are, about to hit a mob. It procs very quickly, and you can see a 168 heal come across. I have 119 spell power, plus, you know, the 51. Not exactly, it's 170 is what that adds up to, but 168 is pretty darn close to 170. So we can see that it is scaling 1-to-1, so shamans have the potential to be extremely fast leveling if you have 2 Ancient Hakkari Manslayers. Number 3, while we were over here, we wanted to test the Skullflame shield to see if the Skullflame shield did work. I did get a proc for 138, but I wasn't sure if that was a Skullflame shield or if that was the Ancient Hakkari Manslayer. And so I just assumed it was the Ancient Hakkari Manslayer that I was using at the time. So I didn't just take that. Probably should have, because it took a long time for it to proc. Otherwise, it's a 1% chance to proc. For those who do not know, currently Skullflame shield, the damage on it does not scale with spell power, but the healing on it does scale with spell power. So sorry, paladins, not able to sit there, have 500 spell power, do 600 damage a tick every single time mobs are hitting you if there's a bunch of them. But however, it does have a 3% chance to steal 35 life from the enemy, which means it should be able to heal you pretty well. If you guys are curious, 119 plus 35, pretty darn close to that 138 that we just saw. So that was the actual proc from that, but we did go into RFC to test it and confirmed that it does scale 1-to-1 with your spell power. So Skullflame shield, 1-to-1 on the healing, no scaling on the damage. Number 4, mob tagging. I think it's number 4, right? Yeah, number 4, mob tagging. So mob tagging is a very popular way to level at the lower levels to speed run. We could obviously go from 1 to 10 in about 30 minutes and 1 to 20 in a couple hours doing mob tagging. So we wanted to test it. Friend Barbaric helped me out, and he had another person help him out by joining the group over here. Basically, if you tag a mob with a hunter in the area, they kill it with their pet, or a warlock kills it with the pet, with one more person standing inside the zone within a group with this guy, they will get full experience. Have a whole video on it that you guys can check out. But we wanted to test this. Basically, the idea is if we get full experience when the pet kills it, we know that mob tagging works. So he went in to hit the mob. Obviously, he's a level 1 trying to hit a level 6. Probably should have trusted in the starting zone. But eventually, he does get the hit. Mob kills, or the pet kills the mob, and he gets 60 experience, confirming mob tagging still does work at this time in TBC. We'll see if they update that in the future. Barbaric also helped us test out the neutral AH cut. Neutral AH cut in Classic is 15%. At some point, it increased to 30%. Confirmed in TBC, it is still 15%. Just some other rapid fire ones before we start getting into some of the mage AoE grinding and things like that. Cloth turn in XP. Rune cloth, silk, mage weave, etc. in the cities still works once per tune. Can't, if you did it in Classic, you can't just do it again in TBC, but if you've never done it in TBC, it should work once for your experience. Mara Dagger mana regen, confirmed, works the exact same way that it has been. Instance cap, still 5 per hour, still 30 per hour, or still 30 per day, but they're talking about changing that from 30 potentially. Supply of Primal Might recipe is confirmed to be limited for the Horde, have not confirmed it for the Alliance. Mounts at 30 confirmed. Scarab Turn-In, no XP, but 2.5 times the rep. Instant mail between tunes, not currently in beta. Iron Grenades do not work on the level 50 plus mobs, so Thorium Grenades will be, valuable. Spell hitbox is currently offset to the right of the mob, so we put in a bug for that. And max zoom works. Max nameplates is not currently working. Now that we've run through some of those rapid fire things, if you have more, definitely reach out to me. Definitely check out that Google Doc. Still a lot of things that I want to test. Ultimately, a lot of people started getting beta access yesterday, so I wanted to test out some of the quests before they got just overrun by people. So I jumped out into leveling. So there's obviously a lot of bugs that I was reaching out to with the leveling, but no crazy things just with the quest leveling. Still more crazy things to come for other stuff though. But I wanted to jump into ZG and I want to show you guys some ZG stuff. So getting started with ZG, obviously, Arlace, why are we showing ZG? The AoE cap is not in TBC. You can't even test it. It's not like it's going to be real. Sure, I agree. There's no AoE cap. However, there's a lot of things that we can test. For example, Blizzard gets a full revamp in TBC, guys. First off, the spell damage. Look at this. I'm hitting for 64 per tick with rank 1 and 200 per tick with max rank. And look at this speed. Look at the speed of this Blizzard. MQG and Icy Veins stack, which means that my Blizzard is ticking insanely fast. Guys, that was 2 Blizzards and the Cubs died. 2 Blizzards. Look at this. We're just mowing down these mobs. They're already at 50%, which means I've done 5,000 damage to each of them. So obviously right now in Classic, MQG does not work on Blizzard because Blizzard is not affected by haste. In TBC, Blizzard is affected by haste. And so MQG and GDKPs, as much as I hate to say it because I still don't have mine on this tune, well, on my other mage, this is the other mage, you gotta get it. It's so good. It is too good. And it's gonna be amazing in raiding as well, especially with Arcane and everything like that. So MQG is just fantastic. It increases the haste of Blizzard, and obviously Blizzard is also scaling better. So Blizzard had a 33% spell power coefficient, and it is now scaling at, I believe, 95% spell power coefficient, which means that we're getting 3 times more of the benefit from our spell power. I only have 442 bonus spell power damage with everything popped, and it's hitting for 230. There's people with 1,000 spell power. Their Blizzard's going to tick for close to 300 damage. All that being said, of course, there is the AoE cap. So how does the AoE cap work? Well, you take the non-critical damage of the spell times 10 divided by the mob count. So the easy way to think about it, guys, the damage that you do to 10 mobs, normalize. The damage you do any more, take the damage that you normally do per tick times 10 divided by the mobs. Easiest way to think about Blizzard's damage, right? So if we're hitting 51 mobs, which this farm is, then we're looking at 1/5 the normal damage per tick. However, there are some workarounds that we'll be able to do with ZG, and we'll get into those in just a sec. But first, let's take a look at the XP to see if it's even worth it to go to ZG. Right now, if you take a look at the experience that we have down at the bottom, 494,000 experience needed for the level. So let's just round it up to say 500,000 for easy math. Here is the actual XP rates we were getting during the pools. The 11 pack gave us 57,081 experience. Takes about 8 minutes to run it, 7.5 if you really want to get specific. If you could go the full time through, that's 456,648 experience an hour. However, obviously you can't go all the way through. You can only do 4 an hour with a 15-minute reset. So you're looking at 228,000 324 experience per hour just from that. The 19 pack pool we did next. So we brought in the Panthers and everything like that. 83,000 experience from that one pool. 15-minute runtime, 4 per hour, 331,172 experience per hour. That means that we're getting roughly 65-ish% of a level per hour. In the 11 pack, obviously, if we're finishing it in 32 minutes, we still have another 28 minutes to spend. So I decided to mess around with the Voodoos. Now, Joker was messing around with the Voodoos for a bit, and honestly, I died a lot of times trying to pull this off. But I wanted to see if the Voodoos could be one-pooled. Joker has been doing a block strategy, and he's been seeing the XP that you could get and everything like that. It's been great. I think there's probably going to be a better strategy, which is going to be taking them to the bridge. The issue is, if you go the wide away around the bridge and you hit any reset spot, the mobs will reset on you. And also, I believe that if you pull these zombies right there, they will reset the mobs. So you got to avoid them. But what you can do is you can aggro them up like this. Aggro up the mobs, aggro up these mobs, avoid these sacrificed trolls, aggro up these withered guys, aggro up the other guys, and then as long as you stay mounted and you avoid the berserker, and there's videos out there, and I can make a video at some point if you guys want to see this, let me know down in the comments down below. And then you can sneak through this little path over here. Obviously I had these mobs aggroed, and in theory jump over onto this ledge, get over to the bridge, and kill them on the bridge. And so we had to run it back because the berserker was obviously in a bad position with the other snakes. Running it back though, we're ready to do the jump, and I forgot light feathers, so I don't have a light feather to make the jump. So I have to kind of improvise, and we run over to the side and run around, and then we eventually get up to the bridge, and then we're AoE farming them on the bridge. Now this time they did not reset, and so we still had all the mobs. So this is probably a way to make this farm work, preferably with light feathers to be able to do the jump, but you can probably kill them on the bridge. Now, why are we able to do this when we can't do this in Classic? The gnomes themselves actually hit for a lot less. So with Dampen Magic, they're only hitting me for about 180 damage each time. Additionally, the range on the gnome spells is not as far as your Blizzard. It's only a 30-yard range, whereas your Blizzard is 36 yards. So what you're actually able to do is you're able to keep the mobs up at the top of the bridge while you step back on the bridge, AoE them down, and then just jump back up. If the gnomes ever get too close to you where they are casting, jump up back further on the rope, and then the gnomes will run away again. But you can see there are 2 hits from the gnomes, 108, 100, 156. Not a problem though, we can burn them down. The withered are gonna give less experience, but the Atai and the gnomes, they have 15,000 health. They're gonna give about 800 experience a pop. So you're able to actually get some pretty good experience from this farm. Again, try to be a little bit further back so that the gnomes aren't hitting you each time. It took me a little bit of practice to get used to that. But you will now be able to one-pool the entire Voodoo room. This is also kind of a big deal because if this comes in patch 2.4.3, some of the items that these Voodoos are able to drop are much, much better than the Croc and Tiger loot table. So this potentially could throw a whole new gold farm into the mix. This will definitely be possible though, as far as XP goes, to get you an additional 28,000 experience. So if you combine that with the 57,000 experience you're already getting, you're looking at 85,000 experience per hour. Again, right here, you can see I let the Voodoos get way too far forward. And so some of them are kind of just chilling and they're casting right there on me. If that ever happens, what you need to do is run back on the bridge, jump back up, and outrange them. They run back. After ZG, we went over to Mara and we wanted to try the 500 Mara pool. For those of you guys who've not seen the 500 Mara pool, well, it's pretty wild. Basically, pull 500 mobs and you kill them. But you could potentially run into some issues like that right there. So you gotta be very careful with what I'm about to show you. But with some practice, the Mara 500 pool is still going to be possible. I know, this doesn't make any sense, right? 500 mobs. If our Blizzard is hitting 50 mobs for like 30 a pop, that means 500 mobs is gonna hit for like 3 damage a pop, right? 3 to 5 damage per Blizzard tick. Yes, 100%. However, the dots of Flame Strike, guys, will not be affected by the AoE cap because it is a ground effect. Similar to Consecration, ground effects do not get nerfed with the AoE cap. Instead, they have a good amount of spell power coefficient. And so if you can properly slow the mobs and still get off Flame Strikes for the dots, you'll be able to take down these mobs and kill them. Well, how can you stack all these mobs? Now that batching is gone, and now that we have a 10 millisecond batch, all of these mobs get slowed by Blizzard immediately, which means it's much, much, much easier to stack up these mobs. There's no mobs just rogue running through your Blizzard. There's no mobs just completely avoiding any kind of slow. They all get slowed. And so you look, just after one Blizzard, we already have this stack going on. So now it becomes an issue of, can we get close enough to slow down all these mobs and also get off Flame Strike? Well, here we ran forward a little bit too far, and you can see that we get stunned. And so I block, you see a bunch of immunes. That's all the stuns. There's barbed lashers in this. They stun you. Don't get too close. And so it took a little bit of practice going back and forth a couple times, but eventually we were able to figure out that if you're standing behind this little lunchbox right here, you're going to be close enough to be able to Flame Strike and far enough away to be able to not be hit by that stun. And so here we start practicing, but you can see that the Flame Strike dot is ticking for 92 damage a tick. I don't have a lot of spell power. In the gear that I'm wearing right now, in this video, I have about 300, which means Flame Strike's going to be able to tick for a pretty solid amount. These mobs have about 5,000 health, which means you're going to be able to take them out pretty easily. But look here, get all the mobs slowed, Flame Strike. Rank 1 Blizzard again, mobs get slowed back through that Flame Strike. Mobs are slowed before they turn back around. You go back onto the post, and then they're getting ticked on by 95 every single time. So they probably take about 700 damage. It might take 20 jumps back and forth. It might take 2 times longer in the kill phase, but the pool phase is going to be exactly the same amount of speed. And so we're going to be able to do Mara 500 pools, guys. Obviously, once the AoE cap comes in, I will actually test this officially to show you guys and give you guys exact placements where you guys should not move forward past, or else you're going to get hit by the Thorn Lashers, etc. Try to test this with, a troll as well, if I can ever get 5-piece T2 on my troll. But this is huge. The batching change, making it so all the mobs can stack up, is massive. Also, food for thought for you guys. Flame Strike, one rank of Flame Strike does not overwrite the other rank of Flame Strike. What does that mean? If I do Flame Strike max rank, and I do Flame Strike one rank below that on the same spot, both of those damage numbers are going to tick. So if you're able to get your Flame Strike speed decreased with the tier from ZG and the 0.5 set, that's 0.75 seconds off of Flame Strike, and then you pop MQG and Icy Veins, you can be looking at, let's just say about a 1.5 second Flame Strike cast. You, in theory, can get 2 different Flame Strikes on the ground and be doing extra damage to these mobs. So as I said, I was having a lot of fun testing a bunch of different things, and then I ran into the questing, and then, Grar from chat challenged me to go over to Blood Furnace and give Blood Furnace a try. See what we could try to pull off in Blood Furnace. Well, Blood Furnace does have a lot of casters in the starting rooms. However, we were able to figure out a couple interesting things. And so this is one of the new things that I'm about to show you. The other thing I'll show you in a second. But it's possible that mages will be able to AoE farm Blood Furnace. It's not going to be crazy efficient. I do have an idea for how to make it crazy efficient, but it's not going to be crazy efficient at face value. But there is some potential here, because there's these packs of 3 mobs. Each of these mobs gives you 2,500 experience. So if you're able to pool mobs like this, you're able to get a pretty solid amount of experience. A quest in TBC right now gives about 10,000 experience, which means if we're able to get about 5 mobs killed at once, that's the equivalent of doing a quest. And so here we try to burn down the mobs as fast as possible. The Hellfire Imps are the issue. You can see Fireball's still getting through there. The Fireballs, the first time through, actually hit me for 1,000 a pop. So the Fireballs are the real big issue with all this, and that's why I potted right there, because they're coming through and they're doing a lot of damage, even through Dampen Magic. But you can see that it is possible to AoE farm down these mobs. We run out of mana. Eventually, we start kiting them back and forth. So I'm potentially going to be putting together a Blood Furnace farm, because there are some ideas I have. That's just something fun that we were doing last night. It did take a long time to get through Blood Furnace, but we were able to solo all the way to the first boss of Blood Furnace live on stream. We were not able to kill the first boss. We did get it down, though, honestly, to 35%, I think. I think we got the first boss of Blood Furnace down to 35% before we died. So maybe with really good gear, because my gear it's decent, but it's not crazy good. Maybe with really good gear, you could actually take out the first first boss of Blood Furnace too. But this opens up the next farm. Before I show you guys what I'm about to show you, just want to give a friendly public reminder that my goal on the beta is to find things. It's not to say whether or not things should or should not be done. A lot of people are going to say that this next thing should not be done for a variety of reasons, and I can't say I disagree with them, but I'm going to try to stay completely impartial. My goal is to find things, share them with everybody, and leave it up to Blizzard to decide whether or not that they want that in the game. I do, however, want to know if you guys think it should be in the game. So in the comments down below, let me know if you guys think this should be in the game. So shout out to Ferp from Sulfuros for finding this out. I did not personally find this out. I was over in Blood Furnace, having a grand old time that I just showed you guys, but he figured this out. Apparently this used to be a old hunter farm for farming the first boss, but he was able to make it into a mage farm. He linked it to me on Discord. He doesn't really have a YouTube channel, he said, but I'm going to share his link down below in the description if you guys want to see the original video that he made. This is not really intended to be a guide, but it's more so intended to show you guys. Again, the beta, guys, is something that you use to test out features, and then it's up to Blizzard to see whether or not they want those features in there. And so I'm not saying whether or not I think this should be in the game or should not be in the game when TBC releases, but I wanted to share it so that at least if Blizzard didn't know about it, now they'll know about it, and they can, you know, make changes as they need to. Basically what this is, guys, is a solo mage farm in slave pens using the ledge behind the first boss as a pathing situation, similar to something like ZF, right? Where the mobs path up this thing, you jump back down, mobs path back the other way because their hitbox won't allow them to hit you while you're up on this ledge. You need to use the boxes to be able to reach there, so there's only really like 3 spots that you can jump up at. These boxes, for example, will not work to get you back up there. The mobs do have cripple and a rain of fire, so it's not just a simple, real easy farm. It is pretty easy overall, though, to get down. I was able to get it down on my first try, so it is definitely something that all mages can do, even if you don't have amazing gear going into TBC. So it is a potential farm when TBC comes out, unless it gets patched. Ultimately, you're killing about 25 to 35 mobs each run, depending on the mob's reset. I think it's going to normalize it around probably closer to the 35 range. So you're looking at about 80,000 experience per run. Each run, he quotes it as 80,000 experience in 8 minutes. So he can do it in about 8 minutes. He has very good gear. It took me probably about 10 minutes that first time. I think you could probably consistently do it in 10 minutes. That being said, even at 10 minutes, you're looking at, you know, the 4 runs per hour cap. Anything faster than 15 minutes means 4 runs per hour. So 80,000 experience times 4, 320,000 experience per hour. You need about, you know, 550,000 experience per level at this point. So you're looking at somewhere about 1.5 to 2 hours per level with this method. Level 63 mobs, so this would work all the way up to level 67, giving a decent amount of experience as a potential leveling solution for solo mage AoE farming. Pallies probably could do this, if I'm going to be honest, using engineering and grenades. It would take a little bit longer, but Pallies also might be a little bit safer with it, just because they do have bubble and they do have self-heals. So the one issue that I did run into was the Rain of Fire mobs. They're not too bad to handle, but when you get cripple on you and the Rain of Fire and everything like that, it could potentially be an issue. And you can also accidentally pull the boss if the mobs run off this path and come down to you on the other side. You definitely potentially could pull the boss. And so it's not like it's a very simple farm, but it is a potential farm that would be there in TBC. So what I'm curious to hear from you guys is, do you think it should be? At the end of the day, the beta is for testing things. It's for finding things like this. And so that Blizzard can decide what they want to change and what they don't want to change. What do you guys think, though? Should this be a possible mage farm at the beginning of TBC? Or do you guys think that this should be fixed before TBC comes out? I'm curious to see what you think down in the comments down below. Also, again, this isn't a guide on how to do it, but if you guys want me to make a guide, let me know. I definitely can make a guide. Whether or not, you know, it'll be there, we'll see. The AoE cap that's going to be coming out will be interesting to see how it affects it. I still think it'd be possible. You might just have to focus on getting down the Rain of Fire mobs first, then kill the rest of the mobs. We'll see. But I'm curious to see what you guys actually think about this and whether or not you think this should be in the game. Shout out regardless to Frep for figuring this out. This is the whole entire point of the beta, is to find things like this, find bugs or situations like this so that Blizzard can have all the information that they need to be able to figure out what they want to change and what they don't want to change. So shout out again to Frep. I'll have his video linked down below. But this is pretty wild in the first iteration, I think, of a TBC dungeon farm that we have seen. All right, everyone, that wraps up today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment below to let me know so. And if you guys have any other ideas for any other videos, please let me know in the comments below. Also, check out the description for the Twitch where I do all this live, and also for my Twitter and Discord where you guys can be notified of any future updates and when I'm going to go live on stream. So I'll see you guys in the next video.